So let's take a look at Learning Target 3.1 on the Unit 3 review. In this case, you're just calculating the slope. One of the things that's really important, and it's going to make a difference in your grade on the test, when it says find the slope of the line, it means you find the slope, which we use the variable m for, and you stop. Do not go and write the equation of the line. If you do, you're basically showing me that either you don't read the directions or you don't understand the directions. So if I want to find the slope of a line, I'm going to start and remind myself it's m, and remind myself that slope is rise over run. I would encourage you to put, as I have in the past, one point above the other point. This way, when I do that, my y's are already lined up and my x's are already lined up. So I'm not going to do that mix and match thing that can get me in trouble. Rise on the graph, y's rise. It even rhymes. Y's are the ones that go up and down. So x comes before y alphabetically, which means my y values are 5 and 3. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 5 and the 3 in the numerator, which is the top of the fraction, because the y's rise. And the x's, the 10 and the -8, will go in the denominator because x's run across. Now if you forget what goes between these, you say, well, if it rose from 3 to 5, how much did it rise? 2, if I counted it off of a graph. What can I do to get 2 out of 3 and 5? Subtract. So it's always subtraction between these things. 5 minus 3 is 2. 10 minus a -8 is like 10 plus a +8, but you can punch that in your calculator and get 18. Now, if I put this into my calculator, it's going to give me a decimal that fills up my entire calculator screen. So it says, remember to give your answers as an integer. Well, 2 divided by 18 isn't an integer because 18 doesn't go into 2 evenly. Or as a simplified fraction. So 2 over 18 reduces to 1 over 9. It says to circle my final answer, so m equals 1/9, and I stop. Do not write anything after that. Do not write the equation of the line. Again, I'm going to write one point above the other point to make it easier on myself. M equals rise over run. You are not required to write this rise over run part on your test, this part, but I would encourage you to, because if you stop and think about rise, y's rise, the y's are the 15 and the -5, you're not going to do this thing upside down, which a lot of people do. So don't just start writing numbers down. Think about them. X's run, so the 1 and the other 1 go in the denominator. And again, it's always the change in those values, so it's subtraction between them. 15 minus -5 is +20. 1 minus 1 is 0. If you take your calculator and you punch in 20 divided by 0, it's going to give you an error of some kind. Because if I divide 20 by 0 and get a number, I should be able to take that number, multiply it by 0, and get back to 20. You can't do that because anything times 0 is 0. You're never going to get an answer of 20. So in this case, the slope, which is m, is undefined. And if you looked at the directions for this, it said as a simplified fraction or as undefined. So I shouldn't have anybody writing an answer of unidentified or no slope or something, because the word that you need to know is in there. You just need to know when to use it. Circle my final answer and go on to the next problem. Again, I'm going to write one point above the other point. It doesn't matter which point goes on top, as long as you do your y's in the same direction as your x's, and you do rise over run. I'm not going to write the rise over run this time. Y's rise, so 16 minus the -2. X's run, so -6 minus the -3. 16 minus -2 is +18. -6 minus -3 is -3. And now, in this case, I do get an integer. I can take 18 and divide it by -3, and it is exactly -6. So my final answer, m equals -6. And I gave it that way because it said to give it as an integer when possible. It is possible to write that one as an integer, so I need to do it that way. Thank you.